Hi, you guys. I hope you had a great 3-day weekend. And in fact, I really want to start off this video by talking about our 3-day weekend, because we have a 3-day weekend because it's Memorial Day. And Memorial Day is super important. In America, we have a military, and that military is there to protect America from people who don't agree with our values, with our freedoms. From people who want to have more land and more resources and don't really care about the people living here. And so our military protects us. And so, unfortunately, sometimes when people are serving in the military, they're killed in the line of duty. And when that happens, that's very sad. My cousin passed away, and he had a wife and 2 kids when he was serving in the military. And it's real, and it's really harsh, and it's sad, but it's great that there are people who are noble enough and have enough courage to do what needs to be done to keep us safe. So I really wanted to just take a moment to respect that it was Memorial Day this weekend and to talk about it. And we'll talk about it more during our class sessions. Our live class sessions. So I just wanted to lay that out there. And one of the rights you have as a child who is in America is you are allowed a free and appropriate public education. And that is what I'm about to give you. Okay, so let's get started. The first thing we're going to do today is, I'll just give you a quick rundown. We're going to go over our vocab spelling words. We're going to use blocks to discuss DNA and genes and kind of explore the differences of that. And then we're going to read our 3rd chapter in our book about Josh and him discovering how DNA affects him and his family, and DNA and genes. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to start with our vocab words. The first one is traits. Traits are physical characteristics that we inherit from our family. Over here, trait is trait, and it is a feature that each person has, like being tall or short, or having blue or brown eyes. You could also have green eyes, lots of different traits out there. The traits that we inherit, we see in our body, body, and our body is our physical being. The physical being is our body. Then we're going to get smaller than our body, and we're going to talk about our cells. So this word is cell, C-E-L-L. A cell is a small part of a living thing. So we have millions of cells. And remember, we talked about in an earlier study that cells are the workers and DNA is the boss. DNA tells the cells what jobs to do and how to do them. But we can't see cells with our eyes. We need a microscope. All right. Microscope is spelled M-I-C-R-O-S-C-O-P-E. It's a big word. You can break it down into 2 parts. You can break it down into micro, M-I-C-R-O, and scope, S-C-O-P-E. Micro means small. So you could say a microorganism, a small organism. It's really tiny. A microscope helps you see things that are really tiny. One of the small things that a really good, strong microscope will help you see is DNA. This is just long strands of DNA. DNA is the boss of our cells. It gives us a set of directions in each living cell that tells how a living thing will look and act. Okay? DNA. Part of DNA. A part of this long strand right here is called a gene. We've already talked that this does not mean blue jeans. No, it's not what we're talking about. We're talking about genes spelled with a G, a G-E-N-E-S, genes. And it is a small portion of DNA. And it's a part of DNA that tells what features a person will get from their parents. All right, so those are our vocabulary words. Now on to our mini lesson. In this book, Josh asked his parent, he says, you know what, Dad, we've been talking about genes. We've been talking about DNA, and I don't get it. I don't get how DNA makes me the way I am. Okay. So the dad says, okay, let me explain it to you. DNA is kind of like this ladder. We've talked about this spiral ladder a lot. The spiral ladder right here. And it says on each rung of the ladder, DNA has one of 4 letters. These letter rungs mix together to make genes. How do 4 letters mix up all the different genes? Josh asked. Well, his dad says, it looks a lot like, I like to think of it as blocks, says Dad. I can make lots of different blocks using towers, just the colors blue, green, yellow, and red. It all depends on what order I put them in. Okay. I just ran ahead a little bit because I want to kind of explain why I have these blocks out and what I'm going to do. Let's say this is part of a strand of DNA. Okay. We have the strand of DNA. And part of this strand of DNA is a gene. Okay, so let's break this up into 3 different genes. All right. Each of these genes, just use 2 right now, are made up of blocks. But they're not the same, are they? No. Each of these genes are made up of the same colors. But are they the same? No. These genes have a different order of colors, a different amount of colors, a different combination. And so they are unique and have different jobs to do and have different directions to give. So even though these are both genes and they're both part of DNA and they're both little towers, they are different and have different information to give. And that is how genes can, that's how people can have eyes, but some eyes are blue because their gene might look like this. And someone with brown eyes gene might look like this. And so it still makes an eye, but it makes a different kind of eye. All right. So that's kind of how I wanted to explain. Now, this is a very big concept. This is something that's taken a very long time for scientists to even begin to understand. And they're learning more and more and more about it every day. So if you don't get everything about this today, that's okay. Just keep thinking about it. Keep trying to work it through. Maybe ask a parent a question when we have our session. Say, hey, Mr. Machado, I don't get this thing. This doesn't make any sense. And I can go over it again. And you can say, but wait, I don't get that part. And I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll explain it to you better. Talk about your questions. So important for learning. That's what an education is. I can't teach you all the right answers, but I can teach you how to ask questions and how to think. And if you know how to ask questions and how to think, you can almost figure out anything. And I have total faith in you. All right. So like I said, back to the lesson. This is DNA. We separate our DNA. We have different sets of genes. Okay. They have information. They're both little towers, but the information is ordered differently. So it gives different directions. And that's how we have so many variations of genes. And that's why we have so many different kinds of people. So here's our 3rd chapter of our story, featuring Josh and him learning all about genes. Okay. And it says, what are genes? Josh looks at a picture of a photo album of his family. He sees his mom, dad, and his sister and himself. Josh says, I don't know what genes are or how, or what they have to do with family. Josh says, you and Claire look very much like your mother and me because of genes. So what do genes have to do with families? Well, they have to do with why we look like our biological parents. Okay? That's what genes have to do. Josh sees his dad in the picture. The dad has brown hair. Dad has brown eyes, and so does Josh. Josh sees his mom in the picture. Mom has blonde hair. Mom has blue eyes. So does Claire. Josh and Claire are like their parents in many ways. It is all in the genes. So, why do Josh and Claire look like their parents? It's because of their genes. I'm having a hard time finding where stuff is on the page. There are millions of cells in your body. These cells make up your body. Each cell has a different job to do. There is DNA inside of every cell. DNA looks like a ladder. It is long and thin. DNA holds up information for how our bodies holds information of how our bodies look and work. DNA looks like a long spiral ladder. On each rung of the DNA ladder has one of 4 letters. These letters or rungs mix together to make genes. How do 4 letters make up all the different genes? Asked Josh. I like to think of it as blocks, says Dad. I can make lots of different block towers using just the colors blue, green, red, and yellow. It all depends on what order I put them in. Oh, I see, says Josh. The order of the letters on the DNA make up the different genes. Genes come from your parents and other family members. You inherit genes. Some of your genes come from your dad and his family. Some genes come from your mom and her family. Your genes are a special set of instructions that make up you as an individual. So where do you get your genes? You get your genes from your biological family. Okay. You inherit genes that make you the same and different from your family members. Your genes tell you what hair color you have. They tell you what eye color you have. They tell you if you are short or tall. Genes can also determine what talents you have. Josh has brown hair gene from his dad. Claire has the blonde hair gene from her mom. Josh and Claire and their parents are tall. These genes are what make Josh and Claire special. These genes also make Josh and Claire similar to their parents. All right. We all have a different combination of genes. Only people who have very exact, I think, identical are identical twins. None of you are identical twins. So you are all unique in your own set of genes. Just real quick, you remember as we've been going through the story, they've been adding people to this family tree. So it started with Josh's great-grandparents, and now his great-grandparents had his grandparents as children. That was great-uncle Bill and Grandma Barb. Grandma Barb married Grandpa Gene. They had 3 kids, Carrie, Amy, and their dad, Stephen. Stephen married their mom, and then Josh was born, who's the talker in this book, and so was Claire, her sister. And we hear a lot about them. So this is what a family tree looks like. All right. Can't wait to see you guys on Tuesday after Memorial Day. I hope you take a moment and think about all the sacrifices people have made to keep our country safe. I want to just encourage you to think about how you can make your community better, because we all have to do our part, and we're all special, and we all have something very unique and important to give to each other. All right. Have a great day.